I love movies.
Maybe we don't need to talk about everything.
Really? Well, I'm sick of being the flag. I want to be a bull again.
I really do not know how to talk about films.
I'm still learning about this stuff.
Realizing that I am still learning what my taste is and what my interest is, and that's really fun and exciting, but I don't know how to articulate it. Which is why I'm going to be starting a monthly series of what I watched this month. I'm just going to talk about them, what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them. Movies are such a subjective medium to me, and if a film speaks to you, it's probably for a reason from your own perspective and your own experiences that has brought you to like that scene, that character, that performance, that production design, that lighting, the VFX, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on. As I'm watching more films, I am realizing there's certain types of direction I really enjoy. There's certain types of cinematography and lighting that really speaks to me. But with that being said, welcome to the first installment of What I Watched This Month.
Let me speak from the heart for a moment.
Conclave surprised me. I've heard so many good things about it. People online were talking about it. My friends were talking about it.
Se mi posso aggiungere a questa amabile conversazione.
A movie where the screen time is about like maybe 98% of like a bunch of mid-aged to old white men like isn't just something that piques my interest. But I'm so glad I watched it. I judged the book by its cover and I was so happily surprised.
Although we sisters are supposed to be invisible, God has nevertheless given us eyes and ears.
The pettiness and cattiness of these dynamics between all these men in the backdrop of the Catholic Church.
This report is entirely mendacious.
Ralph Fiennes is fantastic, and he actually says so little compared to everyone else around him, yet he carries himself as a leading man in this film so well. It says so much more about the subtleties in his performance, how he's reacting, what is going on behind his eyes. Conclave was a great way to start off the beginning of the month, and I actually watched a movie that same night, and I back-to-backed it, and the second movie I watched was Scrapper. How I came across this film was I had watched How to Have Sex by Molly Manning Walker. It has been on my watch list for so long, and like I don't know why I fear my watch list. Does anybody else feel that way? Sometimes I feel like I look at my watch list and I put too many films on my watch list that nothing feels right to watch anymore, which totally goes against the point of a watch list. Anyways, I loved How to Have Sex, and Molly Manning Walker I think really depicts being like a 15-16-year-old girl in today's age so well. I just really fell in love with her directing in this, and then I found out it was her directorial debut, and she was a DP before that, and I think she still does do DP work as well. But I found Scrapper through that because Molly Manning Walker DP'd Scrapper. I put it on with no context. I think it's a really unique take on a father-daughter relationship in a film. And I didn't know Harris Dickinson was in it. And I know the baby girl of it all. That movie did revive my love for him, and this movie, I think, only solidified my love for him. Lola Campbell, who plays Georgie, she is so good, and her chemistry with Harris Dickinson and this father-daughter, like, very unorthodox duo, plays so well. You believe every second of it. The director, Charlotte Regan, she just creates this world. You just so fall in love with it so easily, and it's just such an easy watch, as much as they have these corners of emotional beats that kind of just push you and shake you out of nowhere, and I really love films like that. They feel very human to me, very grounded, while also like feeling so up in the air within the world building itself. I think this film in general is quite underrated. I feel like more people need to watch it. I loved it, and it was a great watch, and it was like the perfect watch I needed at that time. So those two movies I watched on March 1st. And then my apartment caught on fire midnight going into March 2nd. Okay, hello guys, it's Editor Jackie here. I will try my best to not come in like this because I feel like it goes against the purpose of why I'm making these videos to begin with. However, everything that I was trying to say about these next two films I watched, Some Like It Hot and Boogie Nights, just made absolutely no sense. And that makes sense because I watched these both in such a state of shock and just clearly processing the trauma of losing my apartment. I think I'm still feeling that to an extent, but I think, you know, that first week and a half of finding out about my apartment and then having to change my travels around and come home definitely just was a lot to take in at once. And I was trying to lean into movies for that comfort, which they have given me, but at that time specifically, it was very hard for me to be a conscious consumer. And that's okay, that's fine, but just hopping in here to let you know, I watched those movies, don't have a lot to say about them. Maybe another month I will revisit them. Okay. Thank you. Editor Jackie, out. Goodbye. So the next film I watched was No Strings Attached.
You don't remember my name, do you?
I needed to just start watching films that were a bit more simple, and I could just kind of shut my brain off too. I need a movie that was just so silly and dumb. That's exactly what this film was.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think the ending just ruined it all for me. And I think for me that's just coming from like, I did not want them to actually end up together. I just loved them just being in a forever situationship.
I'm falling.
I don't have much to say about it other than that. Like, just a good escapism film. Is it the best film ever? No, but like, I want to bring back movies like this and I want us to do it even better.
What's going on?
And then the next movie I watched was Saved.
Like, she could be some poor savage in some remote jungle somewhere who will never know the Lord and who will never go to heaven. Ever.
Mandy Moore is so amazing in this, and like she plays a popular, like snobby Christian girl a little too well.
We need to show her just how cool we Christians can be. Yeah, totally. Come on, let's start laughing. Now.
I think it hits certain things really on the nose and really well in such a comedic way.
Command you, leave the body of this servant of God. Performing an exorcism? Yes, get off me!
Also really, really amazing cast as well. I do think I like religious satire, and I think like when I watch Saved, I think then about movies like Yes, God, Yes, and I think about how Saved was the blueprint. So, a surprisingly really great watch. I feel like this was also a very underrated film.
You've become a magnet for sin. We've all witnessed it.
Then we finally make it back out to a theater. I watched Mickey 17 with Sabrina in IMAX, as we should.
This is so exciting.
My first thoughts were I laughed a lot and I had a great time, and that is exactly what I wanted and what I needed out of a movie at that point of time. Now, as I look back and think about it in a bit more of a wider lens, the film itself felt like there were so many cooks in the kitchen.
Big bites. Big bites.
It's a lot. Like, Mickey 17 is a big chunk of a film.
There. Are you experiencing any vertigo, nausea, or dizziness?
There's just so much going on, and it is so insanely on the nose in some of the political and like socio-economic satire that it provides. But if it's one thing that we know about Bong Joon-ho, is that he just loves talking shit about capitalism and about the state of the world and about dictatorship, and this film is one of those as well. I don't think this like decreases Bong Joon-ho's talent at all whatsoever too. I still think that there are such amazing moments in this film. He blends genres like no other. It's like a film that left me so overly stimulated as much as it also left me wanting more. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me, so that's what matters. And then the next film I watched is 13.
What? Mother, what do you want? This is not how I raised you. I want you to be civil to me.
This movie has been on my watch list probably since I've been in high school. 13, I feel like I remember I would see it on my Tumblr feed a lot. I actually feel like I related to it a little too much. This early stage of becoming a teenager nowadays in media gets depicted in still such an age of innocence and like still of an age of like not knowing what's happening in the world around you. And I feel like when I was 13, that was when I was feeling the most. I think it does a great job at depicting like when you're young and curious and reckless and depressed, like that is a recipe for you will do whatever you can to feel something and to experience something, and like curiosity really does just take the course of your decisions.
Hit me! Harder! Punch me!
Oh, and a fun fact is this is the same director as Twilight. I rewatched The Worst Person in the World.
Länge sedan jag var med sån. Skickligt stark upplevelse. Tidigt 20-åren liksom.
When you are feeling really lost as an adult and you're trying to understand and navigate your way through life, but you don't know what's best for you or what's right for you, you truly do feel like the world's shittiest person. And I feel like I'm just gonna keep rewatching this film and it's still just gonna hit and resonate, because as I'm just continuously changing and like transforming as a person, I think this film really depicts that in that age of time from your like mid-20s going into your 30s. And this has set me off into a huge Joachim Trier rabbit hole. Holy shit. And you'll know that because I watched the rest of the Oslo trilogy that we'll talk about later in this video. He depicts human behavior and just being a person so well, and that's like the best way I can describe it. I think out of all the movies I watched this month, The Worst Person in the World was like the best rewatch and film and watching experience. It's so comforting, and it's still also like genre bending in certain ways, and like has this postmodern like surrealist lens there, as well as like in between these really realistic, almost slice of life like scenes, and he does it so well. It's masterful, and I love this movie so much.
Alla. Jag ser bara gamla filmer jag liker om med.
I also think this is such an underrated rom-com, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe people really love this and I'm just like not a part of that conversation.
I am furious. No, I really am. I mean, what is the story with the recent fish crisis?
Fish crisis.
Fiscal crisis?
And Isla Fisher is such a great leading lady. Her body comedy is so good. And yes, I think there are certain story elements to this film that do not age well whatsoever, but that is a lot of rom-coms that were made around this time. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it is still such a comforting watch. So it did its job for me.
All right, everyone, gird your loins.
A classic, a great film. However, I think I liked this film more how I remembered it in my head versus actually rewatching it again. I revisit it a lot, which I think says a lot about the classic that it is within the rom-com early 2000s space. Meryl Streep is just so insanely brilliant in this film, and I think that is like the takeaway of this film that we all carry with ourselves. It's like when you think about this film, you think about the cerulean scene.
Sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
The scenes that I just felt the most pulled into were the ones where Miranda Priestley was in there, and it was like in the world of the fashion magazine. Anything else, when it was like with the boyfriend or the group of friends, like I didn't really buy into it or care about it as much. But still, I don't know anyone who doesn't know this film or has like at least not heard of it, and so what does that say? And I'll probably continue to rewatch it.
Who is that sad little person? Are we doing a before and after piece I don't know about?
Which is a great transition into my next film, which is Legally Blonde.
Hi, my name is Elle Woods.
Now this film, it is a masterpiece.
Trust me, Paulette, you have all the equipment. You just need to read the manual.
Elle Woods is a character that is so brilliantly written. When I watched this film, I just was enamored and just so insanely impressed by like how tight of a screenplay this is. It's like, I think 90 minutes or less, and it hits all the points. It ties up everything in a great little bow, and Reese Witherspoon is just so good in this movie. Every side character in this film too, you care about just as much. I just love this film. This is such a great movie. Everything I feel like I end with like such a great watch, which I'm happy for me. That means I've had a lot of great watches this month.
Why is this relevant?
Oh, I have a point, I promise.
And then we take a little bit of a tone shift. I watched the first of Joachim Trier's Oslo trilogy, which is Reprise.
Kan du skrive noe? Nei, jeg tror ikke det.
He is just so masterful on writing such good and natural dialogue, as much as he's also great at depicting just such multi-dimensional characters. This film is probably one of my favorite films I've watched that does a study about male friendships and male friend groups as well, and how sometimes the people you spend the most time with are actually the people who know the least about you. It's a contained film that still has these like surrealist moments that I really, really love and resonate with.
3, 2, 1.
Slutt. This was a rewatch for me. I think for me, it was definitely one of the funnier films I watched last year that were part of the award season.
I mean, I have to wait? You mean we have to wait right now, bro? Yes? Yes?
I am fucking with you,
And what I'm about to say is controversial, but it's my opinion. So the ending for me actually took me out of it. I see the reasons why people love it. Just for me, it just didn't emotionally hit me as much as I wanted it to, or it just didn't really resonate with me as much as like some other films I watched last year that were also part of like the award season. I think it's a great twist on a classic like Cinderella story, but I also think it has its own original shape to it too. Is it my favorite Sean Baker film though? I don't think so. I think that would definitely have to be either Tangerine or Florida Project for me. That's that. Okay, moving on. We have Oslo August 31st, which is the last film that I hadn't watched of the Oslo trilogy by Joachim Trier. Definitely a tough watch. But out of the 3 of the trilogy, definitely my favorite performance by Anders Danielsen Lie. I'm still like speechless about this movie. The fact that it takes place over the course of like 24 hours is just such great structure and story building. This film, I think, to me depicts like high functioning depression in like one of the best ways I've seen on screen. How it feels when the world is just moving on but you just can't seem to move along with it. I think this film really showcases that in such a brilliant way, in such a heartbreaking way. Yeah, I just think this film really shook me to my core, and I went into it very blind. So I will say it is a heavier watch. If you ever want to watch it, you should absolutely watch it. And I can't wait to revisit this trilogy and to watch it in order as well. And I'm excited to just see where Joachim Trier goes in his filmmaking career. And speaking of heavy watches, my next film, The 5-Year Engagement. I feel great about it. Not heavy watch in the same way, but more so in just I struggled so hard to watch this film. This film to me is just, I did not have a good time at all. There, finally, we said it, a film where I just didn't have a good time. I think this film is a really great example of when you have a star-studded cast and a recipe for what could be a really amazing rom-com, but too many cooks in the kitchen causing a catastrophe, and like you don't even have like a dish at the end, you just have a bunch of like messed up ingredients. That's how this film felt. Okay, and now we're at the final film.
Well, hello there, young employee of the Sidewinder.
A coming-of-age film where it's a leading woman and it's about female friendships and growing up. I had an alright time. I wanted to like this a lot more, and I just didn't. But I will say, my favorite part about this film though, the production design in this film is just so warm and cozy to me. I wanted to live in each location, each frame. I wanted to live in this world. Its focus and spotlight on figuring out what was the core relationship in this film was really hard to actually figure out. I feel like you start the film really caring about her friendship with Scarlett Johansson's character. They disregard that friendship so much to the point where like you just stop caring about them in general. But again, there were some like really sweet moments too, but ultimately it was like like a average watch. I don't know if I would watch it again though. Oh my god. As I said at the beginning, I want to get better at talking about movies as much as I enjoy watching them. So this is how we're gonna practice that. So thanks for being on this journey with me. If you've stayed here to this point, thank you. You're crazy. Hopefully there will be more of these. I'm gonna go take a walk outside now because my brain feels so jumbled. If you have any other movies that you suggest I should watch, let me know and I will try my best to give them a watch. Thanks for listening and thanks for being here, and I will see you when I see you. Okay, goodbye.